loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. It is an honor to have you. If you are returning, welcome back. I have missed you. My loves, we are talking today about Virgo season of 2025. These are still intended to be messages that you can come back to at any given point in time, even though it is specific to the year. It's specific to the year because we're tapping into the energies that are afforded and offered to us. If you are coming here from the future, I want you to rest assured that there's a reason why you're here. There is a purpose behind the draw, the call, and there is confirmation waiting for you. That is really what this is about, but we also are going to dig a little bit deeper than we normally do. So I'm going to give a kind of collective overall energy about what we're but what some of the energies that we are going into for this Virgo season entail. So Virgo season this year has a lot of change, a lot of transition, a lot of review and revisions. There is a huge influx of energy. We are going to be entering into the fall or the second round of eclipses throughout the year. For those of you who aren't aware, I do operate more often on an astrological kind of energy level. So in the sense of I've been teaching myself over the past, I want to say probably about 4 years now, what it's like to live in flow with the cosmic waves instead of what the calendar says. So while I still honor and respect the Gregorian calendar, I look at a new year as beginning when the sun enters Aries and begins Ostara, or the spring equinox. And I think about, the seasonal changes and shifts in the sabbats and the energies that these bring. But I operate very much zodiacally speaking, because I have found that the understanding of energies going on is most resonant for me within the astrological field. So I said this actually not too long ago in one of my other readings about how, the astrologer in me had been cringing because I was very out of touch with the energies. And I understand now why I needed to be, because I needed to be able to prepare myself for what was to come. And Virgo season really is the beginning of that. And it's not just me that's preparing, it's all of us. So in Virgo season, we have this very rare event with the moon cycles, and we have what's called a black new moon. And a black new moon can happen in one of 4 ways. The first one is it's the second new moon in a calendar month. The second way is it is the third new moon in a season. So that would be spring, summer, fall, winter season that encompasses 3 zodiac signs. It would be the third new moon in a season that has 4 new moons. The third way would be a second new moon within the same zodiac season. And finally, the rare occurrence of a calendar month that has no new moon in it at all. And that can only happen in February. The last time we had that occurrence, it was back in 2022, which was a very interesting thing. It was an anomaly spring of the moon that I couldn't find a pattern for. I couldn't find another time frame. And I went back, centuries and forward at least a century from now. And I still couldn't find a pattern that matched exactly what happened in the spring. Or rather the beginning of the calendar year of 2022. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is because when I was writing Virgo season 2025 on my paper in order to kind of get in touch and take notes, in my mind, I was seeing the year 2022. But when I went to go write 2025, I actually wrote 2026 and then had to write the 5 over top of the 6. So I was getting something about a completion of self-love healing that started in 2022 and 2026 being a sort of complete and total change of your internal structure, your internal landscape, how you view yourself, how you operate in the world. And that is a huge focus of what Spirit wants to talk about here today. So Virgo season runs from August 22nd of 2025 to September 21st of 2025. I'm being kind of broad on the timeframes as far as like when it ends, because I know it technically ends at some point in time on September 22nd, but I didn't want to go all the way down that level of specificity. So the major focus of this Virgo season is the luminaries, the sun and the moon. The double new moon in Virgo. So we have 2 Virgo new moons. One of them is happening at the 0 degree. The second one happens at the 29th degree. And right before the new moon hits, the actual like 0 degree illumination of the new moon, we have an eclipse. And that is on September 21st for that one. So the eclipse actually happens right before the new moon. It's a partial solar eclipse in Virgo, and it is happening at the 28th degree. So the new moon falls at the 29th degree. So we had that 0 degree, 29 degrees. So it's the opening and then the anaretic. So this is a lot of beginnings and endings. We're going through a lot of huge shifts and changes. And we see that astrologically with all of the new ingresses for the planets. You know, Uranus moving into Gemini, Pluto moving into Aquarius, Saturn and Neptune both transiting and ingressing into Aries. We are coming up next year on the kind of toggle back and forth of the final time frame in Aries for Chiron as Chiron moves into Taurus. So we have all of these, movers and shakers of these outer planets moving into new signs, bringing in new energies. And there's such a huge amount of change so quickly that we're really feeling it. So when we have a black new moon, this affords us an opportunity to look at choices that we've made, to look at the past, to look towards the future, but to really exist in the absolute present moment. There is a kind of liminality energy here with all of this occurrence. So both of the new moons in Virgo fall into a category of a black new moon in different ways. And because of that, we have this kind of cosmic astrological offering of learning what it means to embrace Virgo's perfectionism in a different way. So Virgo energy can ask us to get a little bit more organized, more critical about the different things that we really need to do in order to make changes, to purify and cleanse ourselves in whatever way we're called to, and to think about the way that we nourish and nurture and treat and love ourselves as a point in which we come to the world. And that is how we see the way that the world responds or gives back to us all of those same things, because we're giving it to ourselves. So now we're walking into the world saying, this is what my worth and value is, and I'm going to shine and illuminate that outward. And I intend on doing so the world can mirror that back to me. So we have on Saturday, sorry, I'm stumbling over stuff. On Saturday, August 23rd, we have the new moon in Virgo, and there will be a reading on this channel later on for that. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to kind of get into the energies and see about, Spirit's guidance for setting intentions in that first one. Then we move into September, and both the eclipses and the full moon and new moon in September happen on Sundays. That is the day that is ruled by the sun. So this is Saturn and the sun that we're really looking at. September 1st, so in between the first new moon and the full moon on September 1st, we have Saturn ingressing backwards into Pisces in order to do the final review. And this is a really big final review that goes all the way back to this cycle that began in 1996 when Saturn ingressed into Aries completely without returning back into Pisces. This would be what is called a zodiacal Saturn return. So Saturn going through the zodiac on a tropical level from Aries 0 degrees 00 minutes 00 seconds all the way to Pisces at 29 degrees 59 minutes and 59 seconds. And in that time frame, even there can be an ingress into and then backwards. So we're reviewing 29, almost 30 full years of lessons and karmic wisdom and pains. And I do have the dates for that, for the different zodiacal seasons, like the spring season, summer season, for Saturn's transit that I can post up onto the community page for you guys. And I will take a picture of these and post it up for you guys too, in case you want any kind of reference. But we have this, after Saturn moves back, we have this huge, big, impactful total lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces at the 15th degree, which I always consider like the challenge degree or the conflict degree of that sign itself. It is a blood moon. It is set to last almost 6 hours. It's 5 hours and 27 minutes for the total time of the eclipse. And for the totality, the duration of totality of covering for the total lunar eclipse, there's an hour and 22 minutes. And it's in between 75 and 87% of the world's population will be able to see at least some part of this eclipse on September 7th. That's a huge amount of the world's population. The areas that are not likely to be able to see it or will not be able to see it are Canada, the United States, Mexico, and most of South America. It's just that one landmass from top to bottom. But on the very edge, say like Alaska and Hawaii should be able to see it, at least a portion of it. So after that, we have the partial solar eclipse on the 21st, and there's only a absolute maximum of 0.2% of the world's population that will be able to see this. That would be in parts of New Zealand, Australia. I think Guam might be in there, and Antarctica. So that is a partial solar eclipse that we're not going to be able to witness, but it is actually occurring right before that 29th degree new moon, which means it's still going to have a lot of energy. I wasn't really drawn a lot to that one quite yet, so I imagine that's something for the future. And then we have all sorts of ingresses. So the messages that I got about Virgo season, there were just like some key messages. I got celestial bonus blessings, perfection moons, this transition through the liminal, and walking back collective karmic lessons. So there's this ultra rarity of the double black new moon with double new beginnings, double completions, and a once in a lifetime opportunity to dive directly into Virgo's comfort zone. Like I mentioned, perfectionism. The next time this kind of moon pattern happens where there is 2 new moons and both of them are black new moons in a zodiac season, the way that this is in 2031 in Gemini. And that was something that I found really interesting. So I spent, I want to say hours, many hours, while I was FaceTiming my husband. I was also doing research. These moon phase occurrences that are happening this year in Virgo, and then in 2031 in Gemini, they go in these 6-year pairs. So it'll be Virgo, and then 6 years later, it'll be Gemini, and then there will be 19 years in between both of those. So from 2025, we go 19 years forward. So 2044 is the next time that we are going to see this Virgo patterning occurring. And then in an additional 6 years, so 2050 is when we'll see it with Gemini. And I also found it really interesting as I traced it back, because we're in 2025. So the last time this happened in Virgo was in 2006 and then in 1987. And numerologically speaking, those are a 7-year, an 8-year, and now we're in a 9-year. So these are beautifully timed, perfectly timed, as in no matter how you look at it, there is a beautiful perfection to this, to how it works, how it flows. The fact that it can only fall in these two signs because they're the third sign in a zodiac season, and they're the only ones that can afford for this particular pattern. And what this pattern does is usher in a transition of the moon phases. So we opened the year of 2025 with new moons beginning a season and full moons falling in the middle of the season. With these moon phases occurring now, we are going to be having the full moon occur before the new moon, which means that at the end of every season, we get to do a review and then we get to plant our seeds for a new beginning that we won't be, that will allow for those seeds a lot longer of a duration of time to really get in there and germinate and take root, while we are focusing on each subsequent lesson from there. It's a growth pattern that is, I love when this happens. Anyway, so I got all of this stuff. Oh yeah, we talked about the eclipse patterns. Then I got repeating numbers, 22, 22, 333, and then I heard 454. We also have this kind of leapfrog, follow the leader energy with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus as their ingresses. So we're going to start with the Sun moves into Virgo, then Venus moves into Leo, and Mercury then moves into Virgo. And so the Sun and Venus and Mercury are doing this kind of movement through Leo, Virgo, and into Libra next season, throughout the season of Virgo. And as they do that, the energy of whatever planet it is that is going to be ruling the skies is going to change, but it's going to be those 3 planets. So that's asking us to focus more on ourselves. Those are personal planets. So it's how we communicate with ourselves, how we communicate with the divine, how we communicate with a higher source, with our higher selves, what we value, what we see worth in, how we create beauty within ourselves and within the world, and how we allow ourselves to shine in our most authentic way. That's what these themes are really asking us. And when we're in Virgo season, we can be faced with this need to be in this constant perfectionist mode for ourselves. I need to be perfect. I need to create perfection within myself. And that can become a wound pattern in which we always leave ourselves in a state of lack because we never think that we are good enough because we're not as perfect as we could be if we were to fix this or that or the other thing. So this is what we're being asked to look at, and then to see how can we do healthy levels of perfection. So the primary theme or challenge that I got is, do you love yourself enough to choose a new inner dialogue and outer narrative? And then I got kind of disparate energies and messages. I heard fear and love are in a tug of war, loving ourselves and seeing our own humanity in others. And then all of a sudden I had this like big, huge, like, like a yield sign or a warning sign, like an exclamation mark. And it popped in and like flashed in my third eye. And I heard a word of caution. And I'm just going to read what it says and leave it at that. I will take a picture of it for the collective for you guys. I don't feel as though it is important for me to interpret it on a collective level. I feel like this is something for each one of us to take in and think about ourselves. So the word of caution is, blood cries in the haloed night sky, but for the ignorant and willfully blind, for capitulation and direct inner betrayal and chosen subjugation, the healer arises. In the black void, the pressure cannot be ignored. Collective. A change comes swiftly, raging rapids to wash away the dis-ease. This is an offered chance. This is a warning. Flashing at a side glance. Spirit movement and presence increases. Collaborative and unity, colors and cohesion. Be ready. So towards the end, I was getting bits and pieces of things, and it does feel like a warning. I know it makes me a little uncomfortable, but at the same time, it makes me like, okay, we've got this. We're listening, we're open, we're receiving. And that's really all we can do from here is listen and be open and receive. This Virgo season, I can't emphasize enough, you guys, and I don't normally operate in this way, but I am being as genuine and true to myself as I can be here with you. This is a side of me that I often hide away because of the implications of it. But I can tell you, I feel as though this Virgo season is a crux point for each one of our souls. There is a massive change coming, a massive shakeup coming. And I was looking at patterns because I felt like, oh, if I have some idea of how long this is going to last, I can give you guys something. But it's going to be different. We are all in control of our own, but on a collective level, it's about the wave and the momentum. So that's what we're here to figure out. We're going to find out how to work with the energies of Virgo season in your personal life. Each one of you is here as a part of my soul family, as a part of this community. And at the same time, each one of us has our own unique journey. So please trust your heart, your soul, your mind, and your guides to work cohesively and in unity to lead you to the pile that is right for you. There are 3 piles. We are working with a dark goddess energy here. Each one has a different dark goddess and a keyword, and we also have witch runes that will coincide with the messages. These are the theme energies of what it is that you're being called to navigate through a perfectionist tendency towards and healing modality on. What's being eclipsed, what is being reviewed, what is being integrated. Integration is a key one. Like I said, I don't often show this side. I want to strongly encourage you guys to take this part of the journey seriously. I understand that we can, kind of look at negatives or positives or however we want to interpret it, but it's more about getting real, genuine accountability on a personal and a soul level. The cosmic waves right now are saying it's time to really get real. There are big changes coming, big upheavals coming. There are new cycles coming. And we have said that, and people say that all the time, but this is different. I feel the difference in this. So I'm asking you to think about the fact that you're here. You chose to be here. Your soul chose to be here because it's important for you to be here. So please take your soul's messages very seriously. Take them to heart. Take them and allow yourself to really move through this season, to take that accountability into your own hands and walk through this life, this path, this journey, this transition point with your head held high and confidence. That is what this message is here to help you guys with. So without further ado, guys, pile 1, we have Yamaya and Tranquility with a female rune. Pile number 2, we have Izanami, and forgive me if I butcher the names, with the keyword potential and the rune of waves. And then we have Eingana with the word nurture and the rune of the moon. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some meditation music for you guys so that you may get in the flow, get into a groove. Flow with the energy, flow with your heart, your soul, and I will see you at your piles. The timestamps are in the description box below. Pile 1. If you chose the first card, the Yamaya and the Woman rune, this is your message for this Virgo season. There's been this consistent message coming through, and it is feeling in order to heal. This Virgo season has so many tense energies, but possible energies, and multiple chances, rarities in occurrences. If you missed the intro and you want to go a bit deeper into this energy, please feel free to go back and watch that. But this message of feeling and healing, that's the theme that we're working with. For you, you chose Yamaya and tranquility. Yamaya was essentially the all-mother of the Yoruba and Orishas. She birthed this world into being. And with the Woman rune, the theme for your Virgo season, the aim, the focus of this healing is surrounding the divine feminine energy, surrounding your own creativity. So if you see here, we have the back of the deck energies that we're working with, and we have the Tarot of the Abyss and the Talisman Oracle. Sorry, I had to double check. So what we're looking at with this back of the deck energy, that's what you're aiming to feel. So you have the Justice card, and you also have the Union card, which has a yin yang, and it also has rhinoceri on it. When we are in one of our two divine energies, whether it's divine masculine or divine feminine, we can find ourselves feeling a lot of dissonance, a lot of unbalanced energy, too much time in one or the other without giving its equal full respect and honoring can leave us feeling as though there's no grounding, there's no safe space. Your heart, your soul, pile 1, is seeking the tranquility of being open to receiving, open to birthing something new into your own life. And a big part of that is this understanding of how to find the balance between you and the outside world, or you and a loved one, or your work and your home life. It's a multitude of different areas that are seeking this kind of unification through balancing. And now I'm seeing Ma'at and the feather and your heart. And it's recognizing that when you move from the heart, you're moving so authentically that your intentions are light as feathers. In these moments, we seek that equilibrium. We seek that tranquility of knowing definitively that no matter how much chaos is going on in the outside world, we have a path and a purpose, and we have natural cycles. One of the things that I have been doing over the past several years is living my life energetically rather than aligned to the calendar year. I started doing that when I wanted to align more deeply and profoundly and personally with the zodiac signs and energies. As I studied astrology, I chose to embrace both the modernization through the tropical zodiac, as well as embracing the ancient ways of understanding that the sun's passage through each sign brings us into different seasons, different energies. And when we honor these time frames, we also honor the sabbats, the esbats. We honor the flow of nature, and we honor ourselves in that flow. That may be something that, with this pile in particular, it's more about recognizing how the moon cycles might impact you. As females, if you are gender identified as female, the moon will always have a stronghold over your life, no matter whether you are still menstruating or not, because we are intricately connected. And just as the moon phases impact the ebb and flow of the currents and the tides and the waters of the world, so too does it impact the ebbs and flows within our own internal tides and currents. And that's not exclusive to females. It also includes everyone in the world, because we all have that divine feminine energy. It's just, for some of us, we feel it more viscerally. Sometimes when we are out of balance, we don't recognize that the pull that we feel to a certain way, whether it is slowing down or aligning in a new form, aligning in a new endeavor, we don't realize that we have put ourselves so far into one energy over the other that we're essentially just worn out and worn down. So this Virgo season is about you finding peace in the balance, peace in the harmony, peace in the unification within yourself and within your life. This tranquility that says, I am calm, I am true, I am strong, and this is where I'm meant to be so that I can birth my life into being. So let's find out the healing for you. We have the Eight of Cups and learn the truth. Ooh, I'm getting a very strong Aquarius energy here. And with learn the truth, we have the owl. You know, an owl can turn its head almost an entire 360 degrees. And oftentimes it can seem like it is doing that. But an owl is symbolic of being able to see things that we don't normally look at. Now, with this Eight of Cups, it really does go against what the traditional card would do, which is to have somebody walking away as though it was a hardship, a pain, an agonizing decision in their life. Give me one moment, guys. Willow wants to go out. Okay, my loves, I am back. Thank you for your patience. Aquarius energy. In this Eight of Cups card, I'm captivated by the fact that she is actually pouring the cup and the contents of the cup out itself. You know, the Eight of Cups comes after all of the confusion of the Seven of Cups, where you have all of these choices, and some are great and some are not so great. And you don't know which one is which until you actually drink from the cup. But in this one, and so with the Eight of Cups, then when you make the wrong choice or you choose one that involves more that you need to do, now you must go on the journey for finding the ninth cup. But this is about recognizing the things that have been falling apart around us or within us, things that are dilapidated and could use a refresher. Now, the reason why I was getting Aquarius energy on this one is because with Aquarius energy, you have the cupbearer, and it is the story of Ganymede and him pouring out the waters of life the elixir of life essentially into the world, sharing the wisdom and the knowledge. So what you're really looking to heal right now is this truth that exists within you, this understanding that you have of your surroundings and your life and the things going on, this deciding to no longer be silent, deciding to no longer hold on to things that just keep you on this constant teeter-totter between these energies. This Virgo season, pile one, you're being asked to recognize your own strength, not in just walking away, but in making a conscious decision to say, this is not right for me. So I'm going to pour this out because I know if I move forward now and I'm moving forward into my truth, into union within myself, into union and unification and tranquility within my life, I'm going to move forward in this way and my cup will be empty so that I can fill my cup up with what is true and right and authentic and genuine to me. That's what it means to work and live through integrity. And that is an honorable choice, pile one. To moving forward, what I'm picking up as far as advice is sometimes the truth that we learn, it doesn't come from another person. It doesn't come from outside resources. It comes entirely from within. It arises. It is birthed into being. And in that, we find the lightness of the feather that is our heart. We find that balance, that harmony, that truth. This Virgo season is open for you to heal that so that you can come back into harmony with and without, within and without. So pile one, this is your brief message about feeling and healing for this Virgo season. I would like to take this time to say thank you so much for being here, pile one. Thank you to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit. Thank you for the collective of pile one, for their diligence, dedication, and their very wise souls. Thank you for bringing them here to this channel, to this community, to share and connect. Thank you. Pile one, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, that'd be awesome. You can do that by interacting with my channel, watching the videos, liking, commenting, subscribing. You can even share the videos on social media or with a friend or family member if you feel like they would be helped by it. So this is where I leave you. I want to take this time one more time to say thank you so much for being here. As always, it's an honor and a privilege. I love you all, and I hope to see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile two. If you chose the second card, Izanami, and potential with the waves rune, this is your message about this Virgo season. I'm keeping it pretty simple. For those of you who haven't been following, I have been dealing with influenza. I had an outbreak of shingles. And I'm pretty sure I broke my ankle. And then I found out that my cousin's significant other had a heart attack and passed away. And all of that within like 1 week. It's been a lot. So we're keeping this fairly simple. But this Virgo season is all about healing and feeling. So what you're aiming at feeling is represented by the back of the deck energy. And that will be illuminated for healing with these cards here. But the theme of this really is this Izanami card and the waves rune. Now, Izanami is the Japanese goddess of both life and death. And she represents the hidden potential that we have, that exists within all of us in the face of troubles and torments and loss and grief and pain and anguish, in the face of betrayal, in the face of any kind of destruction, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, in our lives. The waves rune is very much like a hurricane blowing through our lives. There's chaos and mayhem and damage that is done and left behind. But the thing about these moments in our life, what we don't realize is nature always finds a way. And one of the things that I love doing is I love going on this nature trail right outside of the city that I live in, because I love to see the trees that have fallen over, that have been struck by lightning, or that ended up with some sort of disease and they just couldn't make it. But then as they fall and they crumble, they give birth to something new. That's what we are called to recognize, even when we struggle with that. That every tumble holds the potential for more. And so what you're seeking to feel has to do with this Two of Pentacles and this rebirth card with the moth. Sometimes when we think about a rebirth, we don't really realize how much we have to give to one thing or another, how much we have to realize that sometimes we do need to limit our choices. Sometimes having a multitude of choices and a multitude of places that we are putting our energy forth into can be more destructive. But when you find what's right for you, no matter the hurricane, no matter the storm, the tornado, whatever it is, you become the eye of it. You become that calm center where all the chaos is going on around you, but you understand that through that, there is nothing but potential. So having a rebirth involves you choosing this path of balance in the physical world, between your physical body and your mental body, between your mental body and your spiritual body, between your physical body and your spiritual body. It's a multitude of different ways that it plays out, but it is about finding that balance in the rebirth. Whenever I see a moth or a butterfly, I think about the journey from caterpillar to moth and butterfly. And what that entails is a literal destruction of self until you turn into what I call caterpillar soup. And so you are in that energy and in that place. And then you form yourself completely new. And then you break free of that cocoon. You give birth to yourself from the liquefaction of yourself. It's an alchemical process that you go through. It's deeply, profoundly spiritual, but it doesn't mean that it's an easy journey. It doesn't mean that everything is just, I'm hearing hunky dory. That's crazy. I love it. It doesn't mean that everything is just fantastic. It doesn't mean that it's this beautiful process. We think about the miracle that is giving birth. And yet my husband talks about when his ex-wife gave birth to their son, and how it was the most disturbing, destructive, disgusting thing he's ever witnessed. And yet that life is so beautiful. The beauty is in the potential of the event, of the time, of the person, of the situation. And you have an abundance of potential in your life. And this Virgo season is bringing it out. This ability to live both lives, both a spiritual and a physical existence, that actually harmonizes itself because you're allowing yourself to be reborn, to be born anew, to be your truest self. So let's find out what you're called to heal. Oh, I love this. We have the 10 of Cups and grounding. Sometimes we can feel like we're losing everything. And when we feel like we're losing everything, we can feel very ungrounded. Happiness isn't measured in the amount of smiles and laughter that you engage in. Happiness is not a measurable experience. It's a visceral experience. It's a totality kind of thing. Happiness and joy and a family and this new horizon or new dawning, breaking through the horizon, saying, this is the path to home. This is the path to where you belong. Sometimes that journey is the most challenging. Sometimes we get ourselves so grounded that we need to really learn how to release, learn how to let go. Both of these cards, and I'm going to tell you something because I don't normally take reversals, and I noticed that they came out like that. Both of them. When we're talking about healing, we're talking about healing from the things that are lost. Like I mentioned before, my cousin's significant other just recently passed away. And that marks 4 losses, 4 deaths in my life from people I care about over 4 years' time. Murder, accidents, natural causes, old age, the gamut of death. And so August to me has this energy of destruction. It has the energy of loss, of grief, of pain, of sorrow, of sadness, and of confusion. When we go through these things, it can feel like our happily ever after doesn't exist, as though we were never meant to have a happily ever after. It was all just a fallacy, a created illusion in order for us to keep going through the torment and suffering that is this life. And so it gets easier and easier to disappear into the ethers, to let ourselves float high and continually find our way away from this life. But what if you could feel like you belong, like you're grounded, even in the midst of the destruction? What could you give birth to? What could be reborn into your life and into yourself with the choice? With the choice to recognize that because you are alive, you are meant to be here. And that means that your happily ever after does exist, even when it feels like it's lost. Even when you feel like you're lost. This Virgo season is asking you to really let yourself feel safe in recognizing that your happily ever after does exist. It just isn't quantifiable. There is no measure. It is visceral, experiential. It's the engagement of living. And that can be very hard in such destruction. But that's why you're here. To balance the power of life and death within you, of rebirth into something new that you wouldn't necessarily normally think about, but that becomes a grand adventure and a great gift. This Virgo season is offering that to you. Pile 2. This is the message I have for you. I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit for connecting these energies and having these messages flow through. May they reach all those in pile 2 they are meant for. May they ease their troubles, lessen their suffering, and help them reconnect with their belonging and sense of self in this world. This is my wish and my blessings for them. Thank you. Pile 2, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, that'd be super awesome. You can do that by liking the video, commenting in the comment section, subscribing to my channel. Any and all interaction really does help my channel grow, and it helps these messages reach those they are meant for. So without further ado, I am going to leave you here, Pile 2. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish you nothing but the best. I love you all, and I hope to see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose the third card, the third dark goddess, Eingana, with nurture, and the moon runestone, this is your message for Virgo season. Pile 3, we are talking this Virgo season about something that we need to heal and something that we are craving in feeling, experience. You have Eingana, and she is the Australian creator goddess. And she gave birth to the world, but she did so in a way that honors the actual physical experience of giving birth, the pain that exists of giving birth. And it is through a connection to her that all things exist and live their lives. And when that connection is severed, then so too is the life ended. The moon with this nurture, this card talks about our relationships. And with the moon, we can think about our relationship in terms of how we connect with our own inner self, our relationship with the intuitive, with the mystery, with the magic of the world. Sometimes those parts of us need to be nurtured. And I sit here as a psychic, as a tarot reader, as an energy healer, and I understand the nature of needing to nurture yourself, to give yourself a break, to rest. I didn't know that I would get this reading out. It still won't get out in the time frame that I normally release my readings, but it'll still get out on the day that I intended to originally release it. But I didn't overstress myself about getting it done because I knew that my body needed rest. I have a viral outbreak going on with shingles, courtesy of chickenpox in the 6th grade. Not fun. And the nerve pain that goes with that is quite astounding. I also have influenza and am navigating my way through, all of the exhaustion and the fevers and all of that. And I have a likely very broken ankle. All of those things ask me to slow down, to get in touch with myself, to think before I leap, to rest before I run. Sometimes it's recognizing why these pains occur. What's the purpose of them? Because they're not there to harm us. They're not there to torture us. They're not there to cause us grief and anxiety and stress and strain. They're there because we need to listen to ourselves more closely. We need to nurture that connection that we have to ourselves. And I love that the part of these back of the deck energies are about what you're seeking to feel. And I love that you chose the nurture card, and what you're seeking to feel is the Queen of Pentacles. It is that nurturance that brings to life an entire existence. She picks her pentacle and she loves it, nourishes it, nurtures it, takes care of it, plants it and watches it grow, harvests and engages with the entire process all over again. And sometimes we have a year in which the growth that we expected just isn't as much. When we feel like we're losing rather than winning on a consistent basis. And that's where this resilience comes in. And we've got a fox card on this resilience card, or a fox on this resilience card. It's a fox card. Yes. Okay. My apologies. Essentially, what this is telling me is that sometimes we can trick ourselves into believing that what we're expressing to the world is a resilience that might not necessarily be true. True resilience is knowing that you can be knocked down and you can keep going. And it's not about doing it in some huge, over the top, right in other people's faces way, but it's about this small moments, the quiet moments, the moments in the darkness. Those are the true magic that you weave in this world and in this life. And sometimes we forget that we have that, because we forget how much we exist because we love ourselves enough to keep going in this life. And pile 3, that's a really important thing for you to recognize, is that you're here, you're breathing, you're living your life right here, right now. And it's not because your parents gave you life. It's not because of some miracle here or there. It is because every single day you wake up and you choose to continue to live. Every single day you continue to breathe, to live your life, to experience this life, and to experience interpersonal connections and relationships, and to experience your intuition and your relationship with yourself. That's true resilience. Resilience in the face of choice, where one choice is arguably the easiest one to make, which is to just give up and walk away and just say, enough is enough. I can't do it anymore. But when we do that, we dishonor our own growth. So this Virgo season, your guides are really calling you to let yourself feel the true nature of the choices that you've made, because those choices are the reason why you're still in existence, and you matter, and your existence matters, and it makes such a profound impact on the world. Sometimes the people who have the most profound impact on the world are the ones who don't see what they do for others. I have a friend who, for years, followed me, commented, kept things very reader and subscriber, until there was just a point where I needed more. I needed to believe in friendship again. I needed to believe in trusting strangers again. I've been knocked down and hurt, and I felt my own personal resilience wavering. Could I get back up and do this again? And then my friend came into my life, and she irrevocably changed it. She doesn't judge me for the hardships that I go through. She doesn't act like it's too much. She doesn't withhold things or see me as selfish or egotistical or anything like that. She doesn't vilify my kindness. She doesn't try to take advantage. We have a beautiful friendship because it's been nurtured over time. We can forget what it's like to love ourselves in that way, to get up and choose every day that resilience to the elements of life that might make it seem like the growth that you are seeking is impossible. So let's find out what you are called to heal. Ooh, we have the Page of Swords. Oh, that's beautiful. And intuition. Okay. I mean, there's not a whole lot that is more clear than this. You've got the moon and you've got intuition here. This is quite literally saying that what you need to heal is that beginner's mindset. And guys, I understand, like, beginner's mindset is so hard when you have been doing something for long enough and then you've been knocked down in that, or something feels like it's falling apart. Any kind of beginner's mindset can be very difficult. But if you trust your intuition, it's going to lead you into a place of pure inspiration. It's going to lead you into what you're seeking. Even if you don't realize entirely what it is that you're seeking, your intuition knows. So the time now is here, this season, for you to nurture that, to love yourself, to love your intuition, to love your psychic gifts, to allow that to give you that fresh breath of curiosity and beginner's mind. To remember that at one point you didn't have any idea what you were doing and you still did it anyway. It's noble, it's honorable, it's inspiring. It's truly inspiring. Allow for your own internal inspiration to be found from your intuitive understanding and awareness. Remember that the things that we tie ourselves to have life because we tie ourselves to it, but you have the power to sever those cords and walk away if the time is right. Sometimes nurturing ourselves is walking away. Sometimes loss is resilience. And our intuition is never there to harm us. It's always there to bring us back to our own true selves and our own inspiration so that we can walk through this life shining that light forward. Pile 3, this Virgo season is going to be one for the books for you. I can feel it already. I just heard In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins playing through my head. Okay. Pile 3, this is the message that I have for you. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I want to say thank you to your guides, to my guides, to the Great Spirit for bringing us all together here today so that these messages could uplift and confirm for Pile 3 their strength, their resolve, their loving nature, and their worth, and their valuable intuition. Thank you so much. Thank you. Pile 3, if this resonated and you would like to support my channel, I'd be super grateful for that. You can do that by liking the video, commenting. You can subscribe to the channel, share the videos. Any and all interactions with my channel really do help it grow, which helps all the messages reach who they are meant for. So Pile 3, this is where I leave you. I want to say thank you again one more time. And I love you all. I hope to see you at my next reading. Bye.